Here is what we know about what has been happening in the past 24 hours. In Iran, Supreme Leader speaks. Appointed last week following the assassination of his father, Iran's new Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei has issued his first statement, warning that attacks on Israel and U.S. military assets and infrastructure in the Middle East will continue unless bases hosting U.S. forces in the region are closed.
Tehran.
The Israeli military has launched a new, extensive wave of air attacks on Iran's capital, Tehran, leaving the city covered in thick smoke on Friday morning. Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz, which connects the Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, is closed, causing Brent crude oil prices to surge past $100 per barrel. The strait, which falls into the territorial waters of Iran and Oman, is the only waterway to the open sea available to oil and gas producers in the Gulf. Iran has stated that the strait is under Iranian control and U.S. and Israel-linked ships are banned. Other vessels must receive Iranian permission to pass. Civilian casualties. Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, Amir Saeed Iravani, said at least 1,348 civilians have been killed, with victims ranging in age from 8 months to 88 years old. In Gulf countries, regional retaliation and attacks. Iran has launched waves of drones and missiles towards Gulf countries that host U.S. military assets and troops and has targeted oil tankers and facilities. Bahrain. The nation has reported intercepting 114 missiles and 190 drones since the war began on February 28. Saudi Arabia. The country intercepted 10 drones over its eastern region and later destroyed an additional 28 drones that breached its airspace. UAE. The country has strongly condemned Iranian strikes on the region and said they have hit Dubai International Airport and some hotels. Australia has ordered all non-essential officials to leave the United Arab Emirates and Israel and urged its citizens to evacuate the Middle East while it is still safe to do so.
Qatar.
Qatar's airspace is officially closed, but Qatar Airways has scheduled more than 140 special flights to help repatriate stranded residents and citizens. Qatar has strongly rejected Israeli media claims that it intentionally paused liquefied natural gas production to manipulate U.S. energy prices. Officials clarified that the suspension was actually forced by an Iranian drone attack. In the U.S., U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters the war against Iran was moving very rapidly. "It's doing very well. Our military is unsurpassed," he said at the White House, not directly responding to the latest comments from Iran's new supreme leader. More than 250 U.S. organizations have signed a letter calling on Congress to halt funding for the war. They argue the $11.3 billion spent in the first 6 days of the conflict is diverting crucial funds from urgent domestic needs, such as food benefits. No need for ground troops in Iran. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham has downplayed the possibility of U.S. troops being deployed to Iran, but suggested the war could continue for some time. "I don't see this conflict ending today," the Republican senator told reporters in Washington, D.C. In Israel, the Israeli military said early on Friday that Iran had fired a new barrage of missiles towards Israel and instructed people in affected areas to head to shelters. Israel strikes Basij force. Israel's military said it had struck checkpoints set up in Tehran by the Basij force of Iran's Revolutionary Guards as part of efforts to undermine control by the authorities. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel can create conditions for regime change, but it is up to Iran's people to take to the streets. He also said Israel is aiming to stop Iran from moving nuclear and ballistic projects underground. In Iraq, a U.S. KC-135 refueling aircraft crashed in western Iraq. While the Islamic resistance in Iraq claimed it shot the aircraft down using air defense systems, U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, stated the aircraft went down in friendly airspace and was not the result of hostile fire. Iraq has shut its port operations after an Indian crew member was killed during an attack on a U.S.-owned oil tanker in Iraqi waters. A drone attack wounded 6 French soldiers in Erbil, in Iraq's autonomous Kurdish region, President Emmanuel Macron said on Thursday. Lebanon. Israeli bombardments continue on southern towns and villages. A strike on the village of Arki, near Sidon, killed 9 people, including 5 children. Lebanese officials have reported that at least 687 people have been killed in Israeli attacks on Lebanon since last Monday, including 98 children. The intense bombardments have displaced an estimated 700,000 to 750,000 people from their homes.